Okay, so let's get started with today's trade recap. Two trades ended up taking, which one was a break even and the other one was a half-hour loss. And then I ended the day there. And yeah, let's go over what buys for today, what could have done better, and why probably I wouldn't say that loss is avoidable, but why it was a little bit lower probability to where with a little bit better logic I could have avoided it technically there, like Garrett's logic pretty much. All right, so we impacted these lows on NQ where when we gap down. So I'm not necessarily bearish on NQ, right? But at the same time, I don't want to trade this higher necessarily, even though we still have opening up, new week opening up, because this kind of shouldn't really expand past the opening price as much, right? Most of the time, it's not gonna be able to do that. We're not gonna go for this high, so you can probably expect the opening gap to be filled. But what I'm looking at is how we leave these equal lows on yes, and this 1 p.m. we leave these relatively equal lows, right? The, to me, I see this on the triad. I'm like, okay, like we are probably, in my opinion, we're very likely to expand lower. Now, even though the day minus support expansion, we can still look for shorts towards EQ of the range, right? So we get a two-stage crack here at the high of the day, like this with the driver, and every asset, where I'm gonna show you in on the lower time frame. So once we get there, right? Yes switches to leading here. Right, Miami is still right here, still leading. I mean, this is the leading asset. Yes, he's the middle asset, but still, I require for every single asset to be aligned. So once that's the case, I can take a trade. And usually that results in me taking a trade on the middle asset, or sometimes I can actually get a proportion block and trade the continuation here, right? Which I did not do, but that's fine. So, alright, so we have S&T with this high, and this is a two-stage at the high of the day. Right, this is SFT fill, right? Because this is gap correction. That's how I see it. Yeah, like this is not a swing point, right? So that's why it's just like SMT fill. There is two-stage, and then once we get this CSD here, I am waiting for the other asset to be aligned. Very simple, right? So once we get that, once yes, the CSD lower as well, I believe, yeah, it was on the 3-minute. Once yes, CSD is lower here, that's where I took. And why was I able to short? Well, this asset didn't CSD yet. It's because we inverse these two bullish gaps here. Pretty small, but inverse these gaps. So that's enough for me to be like, okay, this is not respecting bullish order flow. You're clearly displacing away from this, right? To where I can trade this asset lower. So what do I want to trade this asset towards? Well, the only relevant swing we have. Potentially this gap, but this gap is very close to where it's possible, right? So if I go EQ here, right, this is right below EQ, the gap here, and then I'm holding. So, yep. And this is fine, right? So at this point, I was break even, so it's fine, but I demanded to arbitrate this low right here. And so this was my fill. I mean, it's not right here. Here way. So I must stop at the validation high. I could have definitely had it here. But again, then at that point, if I had it here at the bodies, I would enter market. I would just enter market because there's plenty to R with this low. And as you can see, this is where I ran 1.5 R, but that's not what I took. What I took was this. A little bit wider stop loss. I don't really care. And so here, once this trade, we hit these consolidation low, or these lows right here. It's a 30-minute swing. Once we fail to manipulate this low like this, I go break even. Very simple. Even though here we had a 50-minute gap, I do not know if that gap is going to hold. What I'd rather do is get stop loss break even and potentially re-enter here. Right? Once we fail to manipulate this low, I want to see this expand. I want to see deep retracements. So this was my break even trade, which is right here. There's my entry, where, and I stop loss break even. Okay, so once that's the case, I'm looking at the 50-minute because now we have a gap. Right? Like, okay, so we did fail to manipulate this low on NQ, yes. My bad, on YM and yes, we didn't actually fail to manipulate this low. As you can see, we're breaking below it. So what do we get here is SMT fail. not again. The reason I could avoid this trade is because this is kind of a deeper retracement to where you could probably expect this high to be taken. But still, like this is still the lagging asset. So as long as we see USD lower after this SMT fill on every asset, I'm still willing to trade lower. And in this case, I can trade the leading asset, right? As you can see, get this SMT fill on the lower time frame right here. And let's go here. There it is. So we get this USD. Now again, ideally we get this one. I'm gonna be completely honest. Ideally we get this one, but this is enough for me to say, okay, this asset is probably gonna expand towards this low, right? And if this asset is gonna expand towards this low, what should these assets do? They should do the same towards the same low. And remember here, I am trading not necessarily towards the low today. I want to hit something in the EQ of this range, right? Or slightly below it. In this case, for me, it's like this drawn liquidity, this hourly where's this? It's hourly low, this relevant swing, right? There's kind of nothing here. The 90-minute gap did fail, so this is the next drawn liquidity for me. What we end up doing is at this 30-minute, and we reverse low. So why did we reverse there? It's because of this 4-hour. So again, I think it doesn't even exist here. Let's see what's at this 4-hour gap on NQES. ES even is like very, very small. That's why it's like kind of irrelevant to me. I wanted this low pretty much, and that's around where I was looking to go break even potentially. So what I took here is this 3-minute CSD, and I'm pretty sure it was my fill was around this gap. I don't think it's exactly at the gap, but okay. So as you can see here, around this low, that would be 1 hour, and if you're gonna fill to manipulate this low, you should go lower towards the lowest point of the day. So my trade was like this trade idea here, and yeah, I got stop loss here. Now, I think what I did is like I used a different stop loss and I de-risk as well. Not voluntarily. I de-risk because I couldn't get my exact contract size. I wanted to go for potentially the low of the day. So I mean, yeah, this resulted in a half-hour loss, but nonetheless, it's still a loss. So yeah, going back to why this didn't work, it's because NQ is not failing to play that low. Like that's the issue there. That's what's happening here, right? We are not failing to manipulate this low. Technically, this would have been a failure to manipulate this low. Now, I'm expecting that to happen here, even though we get deep retracement. Once we expand like this, I'm just expecting, like, once I see this, back, I'm expecting NQ to continue lower here. This is not yet fair to manipulate because we haven't closed, but what do we do here? Then opens high, SMT fill, right? Pretty deep retracement, but we're still expecting bearish order flow, right? This gap does not get inversed. We sweep this high. Very simple, very similar logic here. And then what we do get, we expand, Avios expands away. So this just comes down to my bias being wrong for today. And in the sense that there's probably NQ is not likely to expand lower, even though we left all of these right on the way up here. I'm pretty sure it's like no 2-stage crack. There's also no 2-stage crack at the low of the day, which to me makes it just this to me just looks like a retracement. But again, it wasn't. So ideally here, what should have happened is we should have this is seeking this short, right? We can see we cannot close below the lows, we cannot close above the highs. So we get pretty deep retracement. So ideally, what should have happened here with the driver is we should not manipulate the high first. I was expecting some sort of seek and destroy. And ideally, if we're trying to be bearish, like NQ should have hit this low, took out the high, right? Or SMT with it, with another asset, and then start reversing, right? That's the ideal seek and destroy continuation signature. But here, we took out the high, can't really quite displace through the low. And unfortunately, that results in this being a loss here. Let me show you. There is executions. There is around the gap. I didn't have like an exact field. That's totally fine. And I got stopped out. I closed it here. Or wherever. I think I didn't have a hard stop loss. I just closed it around this. So it would be around this would be formation. So let's see also the let's go over the trade Garrett took, which is on NQ. Go here. Go lower time frame. You wait for 10:30. Anki to fail to manipulate this high, I believe. Is it this one? So this is 10 and 30. Okay, so we get this. So once we get this, pretty much, I mean, we have a 2-stage here. There's no SMT fill though. Like technically, it is off of a gap. So this candle is a PSP. Right? To where ideally you could trade this higher. By the way, you're expecting like just the day opening gap to be filled and have that as your draw liquidity. I almost never try. I mean, I never do this, but I wanted to longer reply bait this asset. Now, unfortunately, I don't think you can get it to where. Actually, you can. Never mind, you can. You can do something like this. I think this probably could have been a trade. I was just not really willing to long today. But could have definitely long NQ here. Right, so because like we're expanding, we have 2-stage crack. So this is just a continuation here. See the 5-minute, perhaps the 5 minutes a little bit better. Yeah, so pretty much push this 5-minute. You can have the bodies at the stop at the body here. I just require 2 hours after this 5-minute. Yeah. So there's this. This is just a seek and destroy profile. Because this asset is also reversing. Right. The PSP was this here. It's 2-stage because I don't know, wherever you use it, there's this 30-minute low, which is not a relevant swing. So I think most of the time, ideally, we hit this low. You can see even 10:30 here just opens up and just goes straight higher. No wick. So it's kind of sus. It's because 10 a.m. open low first, but yeah. Either way, so once we get this CSD, go trade this higher. So 10:30. Is it 10:35? Okay, so it literally happens at the same time, yeah. This, right? I wouldn't take this, but yeah, to break the SMT. Because Anki is going to trade towards it. Makes sense. And this trade, by the way, you go breaking at the eye of the day. So there's also this. I don't like longing this. Like I would probably want to long towards this. Like a lower time frame is 1 point, but still. So I'll probably enter market actually. Something like this. Again, I didn't want to long, so I didn't take this. I think this is valid though. Definitely. It's just seek and destroy, and then the assets here, once we get 2-stage, are line, and you just trade the leading asset here towards like this. This probably could have been valid. But by this point though, I was not looking for longs anymore. I was not necessarily even looking, like I don't know. I was like, okay, like probably invalidated, but I'm not gonna trade longs. I was just gonna call it a day there. And I mean, yeah, that was it for my trading day. I could have probably expected something back into a range, even though we have equal lows on 2 of these assets. RTY, I didn't touch on RTY because like it's pretty much the same thing. Right? If we, like, these are the only, this is the same thing as in here. They're the only draws on liquidity here that we have to potentially reverse from. So if the reverse is going to happen, it should happen here. But again, can't really trade this candle higher. Now we're going to have to see tomorrow though, because I'm pretty sure that perhaps not all of these assets, but some of these are definitely going to get a gap here. So we're going to see how we react off of that. And yeah, we'll see about that. See even PM session what's happening now. You know, aren't really expanding in either direction. Okay, so we're gonna have like a 4-hour gap, I think. See, yeah. I mean, probably, I don't know, definitely a 6-hour, but I don't know about 4-hour. Right, so this is actually tradable higher. This could be a reversal. I could see this being the low of the month here. On even low of the year could be. Yep. We'll see about that tomorrow. Yeah, that's gonna be it.